Welcome, everyone. My name is Hallie. I'm a member of the Quad Education team. And today we are going to talk about what college application consulting is. We have two of Quad Education's application consultants here with us today, and they're going to walk you through why you might benefit from having a consultant walk you through the college application process. For those of you that don't know, Quad Education is a college admissions consulting company. We work with students and families throughout the entire college application process, from just starting to think about college and deciding what classes you might want to be taking in high school and extracurricular activities you want to participate in and how those can help your application, all the way through filling out the application, writing your personal statement, sending in the applications, and choosing which school you ultimately decide to attend. So with that, let's talk a little bit about what we're going to go through today. So I'll introduce our consultants. We'll talk about what college application consulting is and who it's for. We'll talk about what college application consultants do. We'll talk about the benefits of having a college application consultant or counselor. We'll go through some frequently asked questions, and then we'll open things up for a Q&A. So if you have questions through this, pop them in the chat, and we'll get to those at the end. Additionally, we are recording this webinar, so you'll be receiving a link to this webinar within the next few days if you need to refer back to it. So we have Darryl and Jenny here with us today. Darryl, can you introduce yourself for us? Oh, and I think you're muted. All right. Jenny, you want to introduce yourself while Darryl figures that out?
Yep. No, I can go. So hi, everyone. My name's Jenny. I've been with Quad for a few years now, and I love working with students. And this will be a great presentation to kind of go through kind of why I love working with students and to kind of introduce you to the entire process. I went to school in Atlanta, I got my MBA from Harvard, and I've been involved in the admissions process kind of at both schools, and so kind of really familiar with what these schools are looking for, and want to kind of help you guys get in on that process.
Awesome. Thanks so much for being here, Jenny.
Of course.
All right, Darryl. Oh, I think you're still muted. If you, in the top bar, if you click the microphone, you should.
Okay, how about now? All right. Sorry about that, gang. Hi, my name is Darryl Tiggle, and I'm also a Quad admissions consultant. And I always like to say, and when we talk about this subject, I really wish I had an admissions consultant when I was going through the process. I was very fortunate to go to a great small liberal arts college, Union College, where I worked in admissions for a long time. Thereafter, I worked at Tufts University in Boston for a long time. And now I work on the other side of college admissions as a college counselor. And often my students will sort of ask me, what kind of things do I need to do? Why do I need a college counselor? And I often say, similar to the same reasons why you need a doctor. Like, they just have good advice for helping you move forward in life. So looking forward to this topic tonight.
Awesome.
Great.
Well, thank you for being here also, Darryl.
Thank you.
All right, so let's dive right in and let's talk about what college application consulting is and who it's for.
Yeah, so we will go into a lot more detail in most of this in the presentation following. But ultimately, kind of application consulting, it's a personalized service to help you and your family kind of navigate applying for college. There's kind of, if you're not familiar with, what schools to apply for, what you're going to need to write for the schools, what types of, resumes you're going to need to send, or kind of other extracurriculars, all those things. There's kind of tons of things that go into the application process. And so having a consultant basically just helps you guide step by step. So, crafting compelling essays, creating the actual schools that you want to apply for, and then managing the timeline. So when you need to get started and thinking through when those deadlines are due. And then ultimately some schools, if you have interviews for them, helping you prep for them. So just kind of guiding you through that entire process and making sure that it's easy and hopefully stress-free.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Jenny. Darryl, anything else to add here? Oh, Darryl, I think if you click the unmute button.
Okay, I'm sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yep, there you are.
All right, I'm sorry. One of the things I often tell my students is think about your college consultant as your agent, right? We're different from teachers or coaches who sort of help you improve your skills. We tell you how to advocate for yourself and advocate for you as well. So I really think about it as agency.
All right. So who is college application consulting for?
All right. Well, I think obviously, for high school students who are, about to embark on this journey or already on this journey, might have gotten down the road on this journey and need help. Those who are pursuing college admissions, both a high school student, but I argue that the parents, the families, right, can benefit from the insight, the intel that comes from college admissions consulting. Students who are already in college and wanting to pursue higher education, students who might want to move on and go to medical school, law school, professional school, consulting there can also benefit them. And students at any, process in the journey or any point in the journey who are seeking scholarship assistance, financial aid assistance. But one of the things I often tell students is it helps you have a partner in strategizing you'll pursue applying to college. So it's really joining a team when you take on a consultant, because you'll have someone who's really invested, but also well-versed in the things you'll need to know to move forward.
Absolutely. And, to specify today, we are talking about how college application consulting or just application consulting for high school students, but this is something that is offered across the board for all applications for professional degrees after college as well. All right. So what does a college application consultant do?
So I'll kind of walk you through the kind of 4 big buckets of what consultants can help you with. First is the personalized assessment. So this is kind of one of my favorite parts of the consulting process. It's really kind of working with you and learning kind of everything about you, so your history, your experiences, the things you like, the things you're good at, the things you're not as good at, and really just kind of really being able to have that, probing discussion with you to ask you questions, things that maybe you haven't thought about of who you are today and how you got there. And so kind of being able to ask those questions, kind of aggregate all of that and forming this kind of picture of who you are and how you can, make your application as strong as possible. The next part is kind of the college list development. So, oftentimes, you know the top 10 Ivy League schools, everyone knows those schools, but there are tons of other schools that might cater to your interests, whether they're bigger, smaller, public, private. So kind of helping you make sure that, based on that personal assessment of kind of what I've learned about you, how, making sure that we have a diverse list of colleges that you're applying to. Next is that application timeline. So, oftentimes students are going to be applying to more than one school. So making sure you're managing all those different deadlines, whether that's, early application or regular decision, when interviews might come out, just making sure that you're super well versed on and aware of those deadlines that will come up. And then college essay assistance, right? So as you are crafting those applications, making sure that based on everything I've learned about you, that I can kind of help you identify like the most compelling stories that's going to win the admissions teams over.
Awesome. And we've got a few more. I think we got a few more on the next page, and I'll tackle those. All right. And the list goes on. And, with the components of the application, and you'll hear how colleges do holistic application review, and they want to see the whole of a student's experience. So these are other things we'll give insight into how to prepare. So your extracurricular activity planning, both in what kind of things you should be doing, and also how you can present that in your application, developing a resume, finding ways in which you can express the things that you're most passionate about, accomplished in, and things that you'd like to continue doing sort of outside the strictly academic scheme. That's something that we're going to help you put together and then put into your application. The interview preparation, and this is something I really like in terms of what Jenny said earlier. It gives a snapshot of who you are now, and so much of the application, the components of the application, the things that colleges are reviewing, there are things that happened when you were a 13, 14, 15-year-old, right? Where as you grow and develop over time, when you interview, it gives the interviewer an opportunity to find out who you are right now. And I think that's a really important way to bring together all the things that they'll find in your application. And then at the end, we'll need to review, right? The things that we're preparing for you, application essays, the resume, what have you, your essays. We want to make sure to review your application so that when it's sent, it's compelling, right? It's comprehensive. It's giving a clear picture of who you are, and that it's tight, that it's accurate, that it shows that you're really diligent in the important work that you submit. So we want to, again, partner with you in making sure those things are top-notch. All right. What's next? Oh.
So I can talk through some of the benefits of college application consulting. So, kind of like Darryl and I both introduced earlier, consultants, they've seen a lot of applications, right? So they've been doing this for many years, have been involved in the admissions process. And so because of that, have just gained a lot of experience over that time of kind of, what is generic and what is going to make you stand out. So getting that expert guidance and helping you craft your application so that you're getting the most compelling and the most unique version of your story is definitely a benefit. And then, very similar, that personalized approach. Your consultants are going to spend a lot of time getting to know you, understanding who you are, and really making sure that your application is true and in the best version of that. Those stellar application essays, sometimes it's just having that third party, someone who's kind of really dedicated to reading your essays and super committed to making sure that, spending the time to do content revisions and saying, how can we structure this better? Is there probe deeper into this question or that story? And really diving deep to make sure that we're bringing out the best story. Stress reduction. So, making sure that, whenever I have, someone who's done this before, I feel so much more comfortable in that process. And that's what the consultants are here to do, to make sure that, we've got you, we understand how this works, and we're going to make sure that you kind of fly through this process, hopefully stress-free. And then increase admission chances, kind of based on all of that we've talked about, right? The consultants all have tons of experience, reading essays and looking at these applications. But it's definitely, by having that expert kind of help you refine, you're definitely going to increase your admissions chances. And then lastly, financial aid assistance, right? So at the end, kind of helping you find scholarships. Oftentimes there are essays associated with those as well. And so kind of a similar process of just making sure that you are telling your best story.
Yeah. Perfect. And I think the real benefits of having a college admissions consultant, I saw from the other side when I worked in admissions for a long time, just the difference between students who had, if they went to a private school and they had a committed college counselor versus to going to a public school where they may not have had a counselor who had as much time to give attention. And I've seen how students who have benefited from our work, both working with us and when I used to work in admissions, you could tell the students who are being well advised. What's next?
All right, let's go through some frequently asked questions. I know during our webinars and through our website, we get a lot of these questions that students and families have about our services and what college application consultants do. So let's go through some of them.
All right. Jen, you want number one?
Sure, I'll take this one. So how early should students start the college application process? Ideally, you should start during your junior year. That's generally, when you actually are applying for, oftentimes starting that junior year gets you into that planning process. So really thinking through, what are my extracurriculars? When am I going to take my SATs? Have I had time to study for them? And really starting junior year allows you to plan, start planning that junior year, do what you need to do over the summer, and then really kind of hone in as the application deadlines get closer to your senior year.
That's right. All right. Why should I consider hiring a college application consultant? All right. The consultants can help students identify their strengths, their weaknesses, choose suitable colleges, craft stellar applications, increase their chances of gaining admissions to the desired schools. All things we've talked about so far. I think the last point is the one that's probably, the capstone, helping increase their chances of gaining admissions to the desired schools. That's really what we're doing, right? The process, right? There are things that you can probably find your way to, but I think having someone who is, and I often say, anytime a company produces food or drugs, they have someone that used to work for the Food and Drug Administration, right? They know super well what goes on to help gain approval on that end. Very similar in the admissions consulting world. We have a pretty good understanding of what things are compelling, what things are desirable in admissions. So our real goal, in addition to taking away the stress and helping you write, great essays, our goal is to help increase your chances of gaining admissions to your desired schools. Word up? All right.
Jenny, anything else to add here?
No, I think, just having that dedicated person there to kind of help you and get you through that process, I think just eases my mind from just going through that and making it stress-free.
Right.
Okay, so how do consultants address individual challenges and weaknesses? Again, this is an extremely personalized process. So, we are going to be providing direct guidance on, if it's academic performance, if it's standardized testing, if it's extracurriculars, in that initial kind of learning phase, we're going to kind of get an understanding of your background and understand where your strengths are and also where your weaknesses are. And basically, if you kind of start that process early in planning, we can, map out a strategy and map out plans and things to do to kind of make those weaknesses and kind of fortify them so that they're no longer weaknesses by the time they're kind of actually applying to college.
Yeah, totally agree. And the strengths are often things that you can probably, contextualize yourself. Jenny really hit it on the nose. The weaknesses are things that we can help you, transform into narratives that help them better understand your grit, right? Your resilience, your ability to overcome challenges. What else do they ask us? All right. Will a college applicant consultant guarantee admissions to a specific college? I think that's a resounding no, right? The guarantee, I think, is hard, right? No reputable college admission consultant can guarantee admissions to a specific college because we're not working for the college, right? Our agent is you, right? So admissions decisions are ultimately at the discretion of the colleges themselves. Consultants can improve your application, but cannot guarantee acceptance. One of the things I think that we do, however, is we really try to help you forecast a good plan of attack. So although we cannot guarantee acceptance to a specific school, and Jenny, cut me off if I'm over speaking, we can guarantee that you're going to get into enough good schools to make a good choice, because we're strategizing with you, right? We're aiming high, right? We're shooting right within our comfort zone. And, we're having not what we call a fallback plan, a foundational plan, so that we make sure that we guarantee you great outcomes in your college admissions experience with great options. But we can't guarantee the specific colleges for whom, you'll be admitted. But trust us when we advantage you in the process to have really good outcomes. Did I overspeak, Jen?
Anything else?
No, I mean, I think that planning process, super key, right? Making, starting that early, really strategizing. So to Darryl's point, not a specific college, but if you kind of, we help you have a plan of attack so that I think most people are pretty happy at the end because we kind of covered all bases and really kind of, covered it from kind of everywhere. Yeah.
Fantastic. Would you both say that having a college application consultant can really help you realistically set goals? So maybe if you're not a straight A student, we will help set expectations that you might not get into an Ivy, but we'll help you find schools that will be a really good fit for your student profile and be a place where you can thrive and get the best education, a really good education.
Yeah, I think that's really our mantra is finding the right fit and making sure that student is matching themselves with those schools. And that's really what I pride myself in doing, is making sure I help students, regardless if they're an A student, a B student, a C student. All students are going to have the opportunity to become future A students, and there'll be lots of places where they can do that. And that is one of the things I think we're especially good at doing. And the other thing, and you've heard what Jenny did for her career and her academic background and what I've done. The other thing we do, and it might sound kind of nerdy, we're really on top of what's going on in college admissions on a day-to-day basis. So the things that were happening 10 years ago that aren't happening now, we knew 5 years ago that swell was coming. So we really stayed current on intelligence around college admissions data.
Yeah, I think to the point of two, super important. I've definitely seen students who maybe, without kind of really understanding like what their interests are or kind of what the culture of a school might be, really try to push themselves into a specific, I want to go to this type of school, and then not be successful there or not be happy there, and then potentially transfer to another school, right? So really, what a consultant can really do is basically help you identify what the right fit, because we've seen the gamut. We kind of know what's happening across all the schools. So make sure that personalized to you is super important.
Same thing.
Was this me? I forget. I can go. And then, so, what services do college application consultants provide? So touched on a lot of this already. In terms of, oftentimes students are kind of curious about the actual essay process. We talked about it before, but it's really, the way that our process works here is that we have this like hour-long session where we kind of really deep dive into your background. And then based on that, identify, based on our conversation, identify a few key stories that could be, really compelling and that could speak to you. And then you go back, you make a first draft of the essay, and then we'll go through several iterations where, I'll read it and say, this either, was great and we just need to make maybe like a few structure, grammatical changes, or like, I think you can probe a lot deeper into this section and let's expand it. And we'll go through multiple iterations of kind of like content changes before finally kind of doing, that proofread at the end, and making sure that those, the essays that you're writing, because all applications are going to have kind of multiple different prompts. So making sure that kind of all of your entire application, all the different essays, the short answers that you're writing, are presenting like a really full picture of you, in addition to your grades, your test scores, your extracurriculars, kind of all of that combined.
All right, excellent. Sorry, I just had a technical difficulty, but I think that was right on point. Thank you so much for saving the day for me. All right, so I'll step in on this one. All right, can college application consultants help with financial aid and scholarships? And I think this is an area also where we can provide some assistance. While college application consultants focus primarily on the application process, some may offer general advice about financial aid, scholarships. However, it's essential to seek specialized financial aid advice from college financial aid offices and professionals. One of the things I do ask my families, my students, is how much the financial piece will weigh into their process. Many of the students who I'm working with, and I know Jenny's working with, are very high achieving students. For some of them, they may be excellent candidates for merit scholarships, for other types of presidential awards, where they might want to have that be part of their application strategy, where some students might be fortunate enough to say, you know what, the financial piece is not as much a burden to me. I'm really trying to maximize my match and fit with the schools. So to the extent that we understand need-based financial aid, merit-based financial aid, the FAFSA, the CSS profile, the things that will be required, those are pieces of insight that we can give you, but we'll make sure that if your situation, if your financial aid landscape goes beyond our area of expertise, we'll hand it over to someone who has more financial aid preparedness abilities.
Fantastic. That brings us to the end of what we have for you. For everyone that's with us, feel free to pop some questions into the chat. And we have Jenny and Darryl here to answer them for you, whether that's about your upcoming college application or any questions you have about the benefits of working with a college application consultant, or anything in between. And we do have one question. Someone wants to know if you can take the SAT more than once.
Absolutely, but both the ACT and SAT, you can take multiple times. I don't encourage it being something that you keep revisiting. 2 or 3 times is probably where you'll start to see your scores, coalesce to what they'll top out as. And in the landscape of college admissions testing being optional and less important, make sure that you're not giving way too much importance to your consideration of testing if it's not going to be your strongest suit in your application. You can present yourself in many other ways that will be compelling.
Makes a lot of sense. So if anyone else has questions, pop those in the Q&A box and we'll get to answering those. But I do want to ask you both, what's, like, you could say, choose like one reason, the most important reason why you recommend college application consulting to students. What would that be? Or like the single most important benefit that people should take away from tonight?
Jenny, you want to go first? You want to go first?
Yeah, I can go. For me, it was kind of that essay development piece. I think that's the most important part. Really having someone third party who's dedicated, who can really from a different perspective, kind of listen to your story and hear your story and probe you and go deeper on the places that are compelling, and really kind of pull out that really interesting story and about what you're passionate about. I think that is kind of one of the most helpful pieces of consulting.
Awesome. I think that's great. I think the thing I like most and the most important piece is, again, having an agent and having someone who's supporting you through the process. I think having, just like many things, someone who knows the inner workings of an organization or of a process can give really good insight on how you might navigate that journey. So I just think it's something that I see quite a bit. So other two pieces that are most poignant to me, and these are kind of tangential. I've worked in schools for a long time, and I've always seen students who have voice, even if they're taking music in school, they've got a voice coach. Even if they're taking, piano lessons in school, they've got an individual coach. Even if they're playing soccer for our school, they've got a soccer consultant. So I think something that's as important as your academic journey going to college and the level of commitment and expense involved, I think having someone who can give you good guidance is just really good guidance. That's my last 2 cents.
I absolutely agree. I think that if I knew this was a service that existed when I applied to college, my application would have been completely different. Mm-hmm. Also, just having someone that can help you discover schools that might be a best fit for you is truly invaluable. I think there's thousands of schools, and so many people don't even know a third of them. And there's hundreds that could be an amazing fit for you. That's true. So beneficial as well. All right. Well, before we wrap up today, Darryl, Jenny, do you have any last thoughts? Especially as we're heading into the start of application season here.
I'd say enjoy the last few days of summer, and then be excited about the coming school year. The things, so everyone wants to go to college. You get into college for the stuff that you're going to be doing this coming fall, winter, and spring. So get excited about it.
Yeah, I would echo that. I mean, I think, as daunting as the process can be, I think it can also be, super fun to really, really be introspective and kind of think about who you are and what you want to do and kind of what's next after high school. So, getting excited, that's a good place to leave it.
Absolutely. Well, for those of you that are interested in learning a little bit more, you can find out some information on our website about services, packages. You can book a call with one of our consultants just to hear about how we can help you specifically with your process. Feel free to go do that. We also have webinars up on our webinar page, previous webinars that we've had that you can go and watch for free, and others coming up that you can sign up for. And good luck, everyone, on your upcoming college application process. And Darryl, Jenny, it was great to have you both. I appreciate you walking us through this.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks so much, everyone.
All right, everyone, have a great
night.